Afternoon, year three. I hope you're all okay. I hope you've all had a brilliant weekend. The sun is shining, and we have one more week of home learning for you guys on our YouTube channel. So I hope you enjoy it, and we're really looking forward to seeing you again in a week's time back at school. So for Monday afternoon's Wonder Lesson, we are going to look at some music. Okay. Now, got a quick rewind to what we did last week, and we looked at three new terminology knowledge to do with music. We had the word tempo, we had the word adagio, and we had the word allegro. Okay, so I want you to pause the video now. I want you to try and think what were the definitions? What does tempo mean? What does adagio mean? And what does allegro mean? Hopefully, you had a go at this on our box set preview as well. So pause video. What do we mean by tempo? What do we mean by adagio? And what do we mean by allegro? Okay, fantastic. So tempo, we know, means the speed of music. So how fast or how slow a piece of music is. And we needed to know that because that's what introduced us to these two new terms. If we're talking about a slow piece of music, music with a slow tempo, can't move that out of the way, we used the term adagio. Okay, and we practiced that last week and we listened to some music with an adagio tempo, which you guys were really, really good at. And on the other hand, if we have a piece of music with a fast tempo, we use the phrase allegro. Allegro. Okay, so there's our learning from last week, all to do around tempo of music. And we're going to look at something else to do with our music, because there's lots of different aspects to music. So go on to the next page. Here we are then, Monday, the 1st of March, 2021. We are in March, 2 months of 2021 already gone. To know instrument families can create different dynamics. New learning is practiced so that we can create a piece of music using a range of dynamics. Now, there might be again a few words in there that you're not quite sure of, but that's absolutely fine because we're going to go through it during today's lesson. So, first of all, let's have a look at our terminology. Some of us might not have heard this word before, instrument families, and then I'm guessing dynamics might be new to us as well. So let's have a look. Instrument families, all that means is that we group instruments. So instruments are things that create sound or create music that make sound in the similar ways. Okay, and we're going to have a look at some in a minute. And then our new word, dynamics. Dynamics is to do with the volume of the music. Okay, so how loud or how quiet a piece of music is being played. We call that dynamics. Right. I'm just going to go back to this instrument families and show you, if I can, the different types of instruments that we have. So the first instrument family we have is called percussion, okay, or percussion. Now, this is to do where the person playing the music hits an object. So things like drums would be classed as percussion instruments. This is a glockenspiel or a type of xylophone, the triangle, tambourines that you hit, any type of drum, it's classed as percussion. You think of big cymbals that we bang together, it would be percussion. It's also to do with instruments that you shake, rub, or scratch. So things like maracas that we shake in our hands to make noise. Okay? They're all called percussion instruments. The next type of instrument family that we're going to look at is the woodwind instruments. And these are all instruments that create sound by being blown into. Okay, so we've got things like the saxophone, clarinet, flute, recorder, and then these ones down here are the bagpipes, which are related to Scotland. Okay, but the person again playing the instrument would blow into the mouthpiece to create sound. Okay, and then they use the rest of the like cogs and the holes to create different sounds. Okay, so far we've got percussion that we bang together. Think about drums and cymbals. Woodwind that you blow into, like a flute or a recorder. Stringed instruments, okay? And these are instruments that create sound by being strummed or plucked. So the obvious one is a guitar, which we play with our fingers. You strum the strings. We've got the harp that you play the strings with, and then the violin, which you play the strings with, but you play with a bow that goes across it. Okay, they all have strings on them, and this is what helps create the sound. So we've got viola, double bass, cello, harp, mandolin. Okay, so a little recap: percussion, bang together; woodwind, blow into; string, strummed or pluck the strings. And the final one we've got is brass. Okay, and this is where it's all to do with vibrations. Okay, they are quite similar to woodwind because you do need to blow into it. They're a little bit more complicated to play. Okay, and they're much more grand instruments, and they have different valves on the sides. Okay, so trumpet, trombone, tuba, tenor horn, French horn, cornet. Okay, and similar, they're blown into, but there's moving parts on them. So trombone, you move it up and down, or same for the trumpet, you've got the buttons on the top. Are different instrument families: percussion, woodwind, string, and brass. Okay, and let me go back to my slides. There we have our families, and we can play these musical instruments quietly, which will be quiet dynamic, or we can play them really loudly, okay, which means we're putting more effort into them, and that would be a loud dynamic. There's our two pieces of musical terminology we're going to need for today's lesson, but don't forget tempo as well. Right, your task for today is you are going to create a piece of music for me on Purple Mash. Now, the app that I'm going to set on your to-do list is called this 2Sequence. So you need to launch it, and when yours comes up, it should look something like this, okay? And you are going to create a piece of music, and I would like you to imagine you are creating a soundtrack or a movie. And the movie that you're going to be creating is the Battle of Marathon. You're just going to be creating the sounds that you think you might hear at the Battle of Marathon, thinking about the instrument type and the instrument families, as well as the dynamic. So you're going to start quite quietly, and then you're going to pick instruments that are going to get louder, maybe the swords clanging together, okay, and shields banging. So the way that this 2Sequence works is along the bottom, you have all your different instruments, and they're set into their instrument families. So we've got our acoustic guitar, which would be stringed; bells and chimes, which would be percussion, because you hit them; drums again, which would be percussion; guitar, which would be strings; violin, which would be strings, okay? And then also you can create some of your own sounds if you have a play with this little button at the end. And as you can see, there's different sounds that you can make on here, okay? The way that you create your piece of music is, this is sort of your sheet going across here, and we start from the left-hand side, and we go across to the right-hand side. So if I wanted guitar to be playing first, I could play that, and then I play it by pressing this button. And you can see how it moves across when it's highlighted the box. Okay. I don't just want a guitar, do I? I might have another guitar on this one. I'm also going to put a bell or a chime. Actually, no, I'm not, sorry. So I'll get rid of it, I'll put it into the bin. I'm going to have this one, chime. Let's listen to what I've got so far. Okay, so I'm building up to my battle now. So as my battle gets more intense, I might start having some drums playing. Okay, let me see what this sounds like. And I'm going to have a tambourine on there as well. Let me play it so far. At this point, I just want to show you this button at the top as well. And this button is to do with our tempo from last week. So if I want this music to be played at a really slow tempo, 60 beats per minute, I can move it down to there. If I wanted it to be played faster, maybe 160, I can move it up. So have a play around with that on yours as well. Then I'm going to get into the heart of my battle. So I'm going to use some cymbals because they sound like swords crashing against each other. So I'm going to play a couple of these here, and they're going to last a bit longer. So I'm going to have them going all the way along here, okay? And because I want it to be quite loud, because this is a loud part and I want a loud dynamic, I'm going to play a couple on top of each other. Okay, so I'm going to go and see what this sounds like. I would like it quite a slow tempo, so I'm going to move my beats per minute down to about, I'm going to go for 70. This is how I press play with this button. Let me see what we've got so far. Can you see how my choice of musical instrument and my instrument family creates that effect I'm looking for, okay? And I've gone for the dynamics. By putting more cymbals on, it makes it louder, okay? If I just had one, it'd be a much quieter dynamic, which we know is volume, okay? So then I could have a play around. Maybe I could put some electric guitars in at the end of the battle, maybe. What else could I use? These ones are sort of not musical instruments, but just sounds that you can use. Okay, I'm going to go for this, I think. And I'm going to have a play, see what my piece of music sounds like. So, set my beats per minute, which is my tempo. I've chosen all my instruments from my different instrument families. This button means that it plays it on a loop, which means it'll go round and round and round again. So I'm going to play that on mine as well. Looped. Okay. If you want to create a longer piece of music, I've chosen 12 boxes. You might want to choose 32, and you can make your music go on for longer. Okay, I'm going to leave that up to you. I'm going to stick with 12, and I'm going to play my music. So hopefully this sounds a bit like the build up to a battle with the choice of instrument and the volume, which is the dynamic. So let's have a look. I quite like that. I think it sounds good. Let me play again. Interesting. So I want you guys to have a go at this, and remember, you're going to create a piece of music using the different instrument families at the bottom and the different dynamics. So think about how loud or how quiet you want each part of your battle to be. Okay? You just need to do this. Once you're finished, you need to click the back arrow, save and exit, and then it will send it across to me. Okay. I will, let me show you where to find it. You go onto yours and you click on your to-dos, I will have set it on there for you in a minute. Okay, so it should be. Okay, really nice music afternoon for you there. Hopefully you enjoy it. Have fun with this. Remember, we're looking at the different instruments from different instrument families and the different dynamics, so how quiet or how loud. And then we've got our tempo as well from last week where we can move our beats per minute. Have a great afternoon and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.